All right, we're going to start chapter 8 today. This is lesson 8.1, and the whole chapter has to do with trigonometry, which is like sine and cosine and angles and fun stuff like that. The first lesson on 8.1, we're talking about angles specifically. So what I'm going to do is these first three things there that I grouped together, those all make up standard position. So instead of writing down a definition, I'm just going to draw a picture over here. So this right here, this is always the initial side. It's always going to be the ray that's on the positive x-axis. And the terminal side, that is going to be just the other ray. So this is just an example. I'll put it down here. So this is the terminal side. It could be in any quadrant. And then we have the directional arrow. And the directional arrow could either go counterclockwise or it could go clockwise. And it does matter which way it goes. If it goes counterclockwise, that means it is a positive angle, and if it's clockwise, it's a negative angle. Okay, let's see. Oh, I wanted to put the quadrants in here. So just a reminder, this is quadrant 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay, so I kind of already mentioned the positive and negative angles. A positive angle means you go counterclockwise. And a negative angle means you go clockwise. Okay, and what I want to do before we get down to the next examples, I want to draw on here two different types of graphs, I guess I'll call them. So we're going to eventually put a circle on here. We're going to talk about the unit circle. So let's do the positive angles first. So you're going to start off at 0 degrees, and then we're going to go up to 90, 180, 270, and then we're going to end up at 360. And those are the positive angles. I go counterclockwise. I'm going to go this way. If I have a negative angle, then I want to go clockwise. So this would be 0. This would be negative 90 down there. Negative 180. Negative 270. And then back around to negative 360. So I'm going clockwise. Okay, so we are going to now, after we went through all this, we're going to sketch an angle in standard position. And I'm going to be looking for three things. I'm going to be looking for the initial side, the terminal side, and the directional arrow. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this for each of these. Alright, so I'm always going to start right here. Okay, so now I got to figure out where is 135 degrees. I'm going to look at this top one. 135 degrees is in between 90 and 180, so I'm going to be somewhere in the second quadrant. And since it's a positive angle, I want to go counterclockwise. The next one is 270, so here's my initial side. 270 actually is right down here on the negative y-axis. I'm just going to draw my terminal side down there. And again, since it's positive, I need to go counterclockwise. Okay, both of these are negative, so I'm going to be looking at this one, and I want to go clockwise. So here's my initial side. Negative 45 would be in between 0 and negative 90. So negative 45 would be down here in the fourth. And I'm going clockwise. And then I got negative 190. Here's my initial side. negative 190, I'm going clockwise, it's going to be slightly above negative 180, so I'm going to be somewhere in the second quadrant, and I'm going clockwise. All right, so there is the first page. I don't think we need to do any more examples of those, so I'm going to cross those out. Those are sketching angles again. I think we're good with that. All right, now we're going to talk about coterminal angles. I'm going to give us a definition on this one. These are two angles in standard position that have the same terminal side. Okay, so here's an example. Okay, here's my initial side, and let's say that the terminal side ends up maybe somewhere over here. Well, I could have two angles. I could have one here, which is a positive one, or I could have one here, which is negative. So coterminal angles are always going to have a positive and a negative. So let's say this one's 110 degrees. If I want to know what the other one is, all I have to do is either add or subtract 360, because this is a full circle, which is 360 degrees. So since I'm giving you the positive one, you're going to subtract 360 from it, and that's going to give us negative 250. So this one's negative 250. Now let's say that I didn't give you 110 and I gave you negative 250. What you would do is you would take negative 250 and add 360. That's going to be 110. So if I give you a positive angle, you subtract 360. If I give you a negative angle, then you add 360. It's kind of like you're doing the opposite. Okay, let's try some of those. And I don't like these directions. I'm just going to cross that out. I just want one positive and one negative. All right. Let's see here. Let's do the first four, I guess. We'll cross off 20 and 21. Okay, so this is a negative. Since it's a negative, I'm going to add 360. I should get a positive answer, because if I'm giving you a negative, I should have a positive. So if I add 360, I get 260. So that's my answer. Okay, the next one's 482. So since it's positive, I'm going to subtract 360 this time. And that's going to give us 122 degrees. Now this is still positive. If I have a positive, my answer should be negative. So if it's not negative, you just subtract 360 again. And I get negative 238. So now that's my answer. Okay, now I have 660. So since it's positive, I'm going to subtract 360. If it's positive, you subtract. That's going to give us 300. Well, that's still positive. I want a negative, because if I give you a positive, your answer should be negative. So if it's not, you're going to subtract 360 again. And now we get a negative answer. So there's my answer to that one. And then 19, since I'm giving you a negative, we're going to add 360. Since I'm giving you a negative, your answer should be positive. So if I do add 360 to that, I get 138 degrees. Okay, so that's how you do coterminal angles. And I think that's it, actually. Yep, that is the end of 8-1.